partnerships. And in this capacity, Joshua helps direct the Obama administration's engagement of faith-based and other nonprofit organizations around the country. One of President Obama's longest-serving aides, Joshua previously served in the then Senator Obama's legislative office, and he led the Religious Affairs Department for the 2008 Obama presidential campaign. Joshua is a noted expert on the intersection of religion and public life, and his work has been profiled in the New York Times, Washington Post, Wall Street Journal, CNN, and elsewhere. He came to the Obama world after having worked on Capitol Hill and was an associate pastor at a small church in Cambridge, Massachusetts. He received his master's in public affairs from Princeton University's Woodrow Wilson School and a bachelor's degree from Boston University. Joshua was raised in Nashville, Tennessee. I know that for firsthand because Joshua has accompanied me on a couple different visitations to disasters, and we actually did some volunteer work in Nashville during the Tennessee floods of a year ago. It's my privilege to work for Joshua, and I've continued to learn from Joshua, and it's also my great privilege to introduce him to you now, Joshua Dubois.
It's terrible. This one sounds much better.
I do what Janet tells me.
We all do.
Hold on a second. I think we're ready to go now. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
It's an exciting time to be getting together and talking about preparedness with faith communities, huh? I hear you guys have had a really good 2 days, and I think we have a couple folks to thank for that. And I want to begin by acknowledging them, Jana Scott, David Myers, and the entire team. Let's give them a round of applause. Great work that they've done. I won't be before you long. I know this is the end of a very long day and a long 2 days that have been very fruitful. Just wanted to first and foremost bring greetings on behalf of President Obama. The President is so excited about this conference and the work that you all are doing, and that's why it was important for him to send me out here to spend a little time and make sure that we connected with you to lift up the good work that this community is doing every single day. I actually told the President I was coming out here yesterday before we left for the day, and he asked me to do something because he knew I was coming back to Tucson, and y'all just had to bear with me. I'm sorry, I've been working for him for a long time, and when the boss tells you to do something, you have to do it. So if you wouldn't mind just raising your hands like this, please. It's all going to make sense in the back there. Could you move them like this, please? I promised President Obama I'd shake everybody's hand in Tucson. Sorry about So listen, I am excited to be here because you all are doing something that is critically important for our nation. Preparedness doesn't get all the national headlines. It doesn't make the front page of the New York Times or the nightly news until something happens. And that's why it's so critical for us to be us meaning the federal government, to connect with you in advance of incidents, well before challenges occur, and talk about how we can connect with one another in a whole of community approach to advance preparedness. There are a few special reasons why this conference is so important. First, we're in the middle of National Preparedness Month, a time to remember, a time to prepare. And this administration thinks it's important to really focus the nation's attention on preparedness in this month-long period, and really get folks thinking about how they can improve their preparedness in their community. And Tucson is really a wonderful example of that. We also just commemorated the 10th anniversary of 9/11. The President flew to all the different sites and then concluded with a service in Washington, D.C., really talking about how we honor the victims and how we pursue those and continue to pursue those who caused that horrible tragedy, but also talked about preparedness and how we can ensure that when challenging things happen to our country, we have the resiliency to bounce back. It's also been just 8 months since the terrible tragedy that took 6 lives and injured many others, including Congresswoman Gabby Giffords. And we all know that it was the result of the folks in this room and others around this wonderful community and around the state that helped this community respond. And again, it was because of preparedness. And then in the last 5 months, as David and Jenna can attest, our nation has experienced some significant incidents around the country. Flooding, tornadoes, earthquakes. We had an earthquake in Washington, D.C. I had the day off. It was a rare vacation day. And of course, I had an earthquake on the only vacation day I've had in 6 months. But that's probably why there was an earthquake. It was God trying to tell me something. But anyhow, these things are happening all over the place now, and we have to learn how to be prepared. So if there's any time to focus on preparedness, that time is now. Your preparedness efforts, especially with young people, are really a bold example of what we're trying to do around the country. Tucson and the entire state of Arizona is a national model for what we're seeking to do. Take a whole-of-community approach and reach out to faith-based organizations, community-based organizations, get them ready in advance of incidents and make sure that we can respond. That's important to get the whole community back after a challenge strikes, but it's also important to reach those who might not otherwise be reached. David mentioned that we spent some time in Nashville, Tennessee, my hometown, after some major flooding occurred a little bit over a year ago. And one of the things we saw there was that because we had engaged faith-based organizations, they were able to reach into communities that might not otherwise receive outreach from the federal government or from government at any level, whether that's minority communities, communities with limited English proficiency, so on and so forth. We were able to reach those folks through faith-based partnerships. And again, that's why the work you all do is so critically important. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that while preparedness is critical, it's one of several components of our office, ways that we try to strengthen and support faith-based groups around the country. We have programs to help connect faith-based organizations to job training and other services so we can get people in the pews into employment. We have programs that help community-based organizations and congregations serve hungry people in their communities. We have programs that help local groups reach out to veterans in their communities as well. Our Office of Faith-Based and Neighborhood Partnerships is really there to be a resource for local groups, both faith-based and secular, to serve people in need. So both on this topic of preparedness and our range of other issues, I hope you'll reach out and engage our office. You can find us online at whitehouse.gov/partnerships. Our Twitter account is Partners for Good, and you have a wonderful resource in Jana Scott, who's from right here in this community, who can let you know how to get engaged as well. So again, I won't take too much time today. I just want you to know that the President acknowledges your tremendous work. He understands the importance of this conference, and he's here with you even when he's not here with you in person to encourage you in the tremendous work you're doing in this community. So thank you so much on behalf of President Obama, and God bless you in the tremendous work that you do.
Thank you, Joshua. And Joshua needs to go to another meeting. This is the life of Joshua Dubois.
Oh, gosh.
And I'm privileged to chauffeur him there. So Joshua and I will be leading, and I think, Jana, you're going to be picking up the baton. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thanks again.
Safe trip.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Well, let's just give Joshua a hand as he goes. This is a young man appointed by the president to lead the faith-based and neighborhood partnerships initiative. It's a huge job, but we know that he's got the ability to fill it, so we're grateful for him. At this